a new fashion.
Coming soon. One night only, the Ultimate World Cage Drum Fettler Showdown, live direct from the Preparation H on Dome, Little Frocking Knob. Drum kits going, one drum kit comes out. Featuring my killer puppy Ellis. Watch it live on Skylogger.
Yeah, I think I've written summit.
My name's Mike Ellis. I have a problem. I rescue, refurbish, restore and revitalise vintage drums, in particular Premier drums. In this programme I'll share with you my adventures, ups and downs, ins and outs, triumphs and tragedies as I lavish some TLC on vintage British drums. Welcome to the Drum Fettler.
Previously on the Drum Fettler, I was working on the 2000 snare drum and we were waiting some parts to arrive, so all being well, they'll be here during this edition. Well, I was also working on the Beverley bass drum and we left the action just as the infill for the bottom had been cut and the glue had been applied. So let's rejoin the action. There we are, the panel is on the bass drum, nice and tight, so we'll let that dry and then we'll come back to it and put the big one on. Yes, here she is, the big, brash, bold and beautiful Beverley bass drum. Oh, that alliteration's made me go a little dizzy. We need to get the big piece done now, the one that goes from there all the way around to there. So we will head over to our little cutting table and get that cut and we can get it fitted to the shell. Right, that's the bass drum all strapped up with the wrap on. Yes, my years working for a fetish show in London paid off when it comes to strapping things up nice and tight. So, next thing will be to drill the holes for the lugs. But first, I've got to clean them. Here's all the lugs. You really don't want to watch me polishing all these, do you? No, I didn't think so. I wouldn't either. We've seen enough of that now. You know how it's done. You don't need me to repeat these things over and over again. So we'll come back a bit later when they're all shiny and probably when they're already on the drum. Flow beam mechanism for the 2000. Now that's not a complicated mechanism. By Jove, no it isn't. Very simple, straightforward, simple to follow. Anyway, all that aside, I need to find the parts that I need for the mechanism. Now, if you will recall, in the last edition of the Drum Fettler, I dismantled the mechanism and found that one side had the older BSF threaded inner cast and the other side had the newer metric threaded. Now, since the BSF one was a little bit distorted, not to mention it's got a crack in it, if we're going to replace it, which obviously we are, then it should be with the metric one, and that means that cosmetically it will match, because the old BSF ones had the slanted terminal knob and the newer metric ones has a terminal knob that's flat, has the flat edge. So let's take a look, see what we've got. This is the inner cast that came with the drum. That's the, as you can see, the metric version. So I need to get something similar to that, or better still, exactly the same. So that's the spring for it, so we'll just put those over there. That looks like it could be metric. We've got a metric terminal, yes, there's one. Let's see if that hits. Joy of joys, and it's the smaller width as well, so it'll fit in the old outer casting, so we can reuse that spring. So for the new one we can throw that away. That's the replacement, that's the one that came with it. Spring, got that, don't need that. Now we need some of the little levelling screws. There's one, and hopefully that's another. Yep, there we go. Tremendous! So that's all ready for assembly. Next thing, leaf springs. I'm sure we've got some in here. Have we got some in here? No, I don't appear to have any. Oh, what's that? Ah, there we go. There's some new ones. Right at the bottom. Great, so 1, 2, 3, 4 leaf springs. So we can get rid of the old distorterized ones and replace them with these. Happy days! Got all the parts I need to reassemble the flow beam mechanism on the 2000. Now all I need to do is find some wires. For those, I will be getting in touch with my very good friend Greville Hodgson, who runs Greville Hodgson Percussion, unsurprisingly, and he has the 0655 wires because they are still being used on marching drums. Even though the 2000 stopped production around 10 years ago, the flow beam mechanism is still in use on marching drums, so you can still get the wires. Remember what we said before, you need the 0655 wires for a 2000, ones that are 409mm, not the ones that are 428mm, because they're the 0654 and they're for a different kind of flow beam mechanism and they will not work, they will be saggy. We've already talked about this. Go back and check the previous episodes of the Drum Fettler for more details. That's the new leaf springs fitted. Covers are back on, screwed in nice and tight, so let's have a look. Oh, that is infinitely better than it was. Nice, firm, positive action on the flow beam. Okay, right, let's get the outer castings on. that's it. Flow beam has been reassembled. It's working perfectly now. Nice and tight, firm, positive action. All I'm waiting for now is the wires, and then we can get the new heads on and the new wires, and that'll be it. All done. The hoops for the 2000 have been polished, and I've tidied up the internal damper. So now we can put the heads on, and then when the wires arrive we'll get those fitted, adjusted, and all being well the drum will be finished. Sounding rather lovely, as I anticipated. So that's the heads on, everything's done, just waiting for the wires to arrive from our good friend Gravel Hodgson. When they arrive we'll get those fitted, adjusted, fettled and in position, and I think you will find then we'll be able to give it a little thwackage and it'll sound absolutely fabulous. I need to think about finishing the Beverley bass drum. Hello possums. We're on the final straight now with the bass drum. Now I need to find some rods and claws for it, so what I'm thinking is I'm going to go with it's a fairly generic claw, but it's a vintage looking claw. I'll just see if I've got any here, because they are still readily available as a new item. Here we go, there we go. This one needs a bit of a clean, but that's the sort of thing that I like, because it's a classic design, the vintage with the two hook over fingers. So I think we'll have something like that. T-rods. I'm not sure whether to go T-rods or square head. I'm thinking T-rods because I have a quantity of these. I'll find a head. I have to buy some new heads. I thought I had some in stock, but I haven't got any. So we get a nice shiny hoop. Let's see if this will work, which it looks like it will. Yeah, there's plenty of clearance into the lug. I need to clean up the T-rods and the claws, or at least the ones I've got. Whatever I'm short I shall get from drumbuilder.co.uk, and I need to get some heads as well. Yes, right, gotta go and spend some money. We shall return to the land of the Beverley bass drum, maybe in a day or two, when all the parts have arrived. I find myself in that situation again, where I'm waiting for vital parts to be delivered to the fettling vault at Blenheim Towers. So I really need to find something productive and useful to do with my time. 87. When drum fettling, sometimes it becomes necessary to use one of these products here. Now, the important thing to remember is these are all very, very dangerous materials and all extremely flammable. So it is absolutely vital that you exercise all the required safety procedures in order to avoid something going disastrously wrong. Let's find out what happens when you mix these chemicals together. Now here's an interesting little snippet for you. Just at the top of your jaw there's a little gap, and it's possible, should you want to hammer a nail in through that gap without causing any lasting harm. I don't have a nail, but I've got this wood screw. I'll just find the spot and we'll just give it a quick go. Whilst on the subject of safety in the workshop, you must ensure that you have a modern extinguisher. A modern extinguisher. Now, as fun and games go, you'll never find anyone more than me likes to join in and get up to a bit of tomfoolery. Well, whatever you do, you must not touch this yellow ring. The drill, the lump hammer, the big screwdriver, and of course the angle grinder. All useful tools, especially when you want to diversify into dentistry.
I am experimenting with a new image.
And yes, we can do tooth whitening. Could you ask if there's a Mrs. Snockers there, please? Yeah, Snockers. First name Norma. Oh, hi Norma. How hard can it be to be a fire eater? We've had a delivery. This is some wrap, which is for another job which we'll come to at another time. But we've got the snare wires for the 2000 snare drums, so we'll get those fitted and that job's done. Well, they look like the right things, but the first thing I'm going to do before anything happens is I'm going to measure them to make absolutely sure they are the right ones. 409mm. I can get these onto the snare now. Well, I think we can class that as a success, and the job is done. So well done me. Another 2000 rescued and brought back into playability. Excellent. Right, well, I'll get in touch with the client and tell him to come and get it. Happy days all round. The yellow Beverley parts have arrived. Care of the lovely people at Highwood Drums. We've got the T-handles and the claws which match the used ones that we've got here already in stock, so those will do nicely. And what we've got is 3 floor tom legs. Now, why have I got floor tom legs for a bass drum? Well, I'll tell you, because these are 10.5mm legs and we can't get 10.5mm spurs. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cunningly fashion some spurs out of these. I've checked, and the length from there to there is just perfectly right, and it's got a little distressed bit at the top there for the wing bolt to hold on to, so that's that job. Also from Alan, my good friend Alan, we've got a couple of heads. We've got a resonant head there and a batter head there in black to keep that theme going. And finally, to finish it all off, we have a yellow Beverley logo, and that's from the Decal shop, or the Decal shop, or De-Ecal shop. So let's get it all put together. Right, time to make some spurs. Now, very important, health and safety. Don't try this at home, kids. go. 2 spurs with points. I would say that's not the ideal way to do it. It's incredibly dangerous, but I'm so highly trained and without much intelligence, it's an important combination when doing things like this. Well, there we are. Finally, we have the bass drum finished on the Beverley kit. It's all done. It looks rather lovely. And we've just finished off with this rather nice white logo on the resonant head. So, there it is, it's all done. Now then, it is available for sale. So if you feel that you need this in your life, get in touch with me on the website and we can talk about it. Give you some more details, some more pictures. And who knows, that could be coming to your drum room before too long. So yeah, get in touch if you want it. Remember, it's a 13 by 9 rack tom, 15 by 12 floor tom and 24 by 14 bass drum. There's no tom holder on the bass drum. There are mounting blocks on the 15 and the 13, so you can mount them on adapters of an appropriate nature. That's that all finished. Now I'm just going to find something else to do. It's all very well. Where the bloody hell am I going to put it?